kind of wanted to just talk about horror and how this genre particularly you can really use to just highlight like the fears and anxieties of the world. And this is a movie I wanted to talk about because it's so much about like, you know, the refugees in this coming into a new country. You know, this is an English production, so it's about refugees from Sudan coming into England, but, you know, we have the same situation going on here in America, which, you know, the way refugees in America, the way that they're treated are probably even worse than the way that they are treated in England. But I like this idea of you have the main couple of Bol and Rael. They're coming from war-torn South Sudan, and they have to live in this house that the English government has provided for them. But the problem is the house is haunted, and it's really like the rock and a hard place situation where maybe, let's say in real life it's not haunted, but you have to live somewhere that's unlivable, or else you'll be sent back, and you can't be sent back. So, like, what kind of solutions are you having? And really, like, for a lot of refugees where they're brought into a new country and they can only live off, like, what the government is providing for them, there really is, like, kind of a suffer in silence. Like, that is your only option, basically. And I like how they kind of use the idea of there's this demon witch that has followed them from Sudan into London and is now kind of haunting their house. And that's like the boiled down plot of the movie. That's like the basic conflict of I have to live in this house, but this house is trying to kill me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I have is I'm just not familiar with the reality of the situation that they're depicting, so I'm not sure like to what degree we're supposed to go, oh, this is representing, you know, the immigration struggle, which I'm sure it is, but I can't speak intelligently whatsoever on A, Britain, and B, you know, the African immigrant experience. So I'm just taking this as sort of a movie. You know, you mentioned we hadn't done a horror movie. This really reminded me of what was the movie we did recently with with Jesse Eisenberg,
Vivarium, which, I mean, okay, that was kind of a thriller, but more like this, like your classic horror of like it's a haunted, there's a monster in your house, like we haven't done, I feel like.
Yeah, I see. To me, this didn't feel like a classic horror. It felt more like, maybe because again, we talk about this a lot, but these kind of new film techniques of like the over the top nature of everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, sort of like the set almost reminded me of Vivarium too, as far as...
Well, they're both kind of... I mean, first of all, I like this movie way better than Vivarium. I mean, Vivarium was kind of a dud. But, yeah, it is kind of, you know... It's a haunted house story.
Right.
And you're all in this house, and the house is trying to kill you. I guess you can make the connection of, like, it's both about... I don't know, because Vivarium is more of a, like, it is a thriller, so you get those aspects, and it is kind of about, like, fear and anxiety of modern life, but it's more like the fear of, like, going into debt, or the fear of, like, being suffocated by, like, a 9-to-5 job, or, like, a family life that's, like, slowly killing you inside.
This movie utilizes more, like, maybe classic horror, like, techniques, like, kind of like the jump, or the...
there's a lot of... The monster design... the design itself of, like, the witch... you know, it's kind of a basic design, but there are a lot of really creepy movements that the witch does that are very unsettling. I like this idea of kind of like the reason that the witch is haunting them is because they did something horrible. They had to do something horrible in order to get out of Sudan. They had to basically kidnap a young girl. in order to escape.
Well, that gets into like, how are you defining had? Like
right, exactly.
It's essentially was a choice.
They didn't had to. It was a choice,
Yeah.
but it was like we are willing to make this choice in order to get out. And it's kind of, they said from the beginning that this witch has followed them from Sudan and is now haunting them. So it puts like kind of that idea in the audience head of it was something that they did in Sudan that is haunting them now. I like this because when the witch kind of appears, like there's kind of like a whole village around him always, and it is kind of like I always feel like he's the manifestation of like all the people who didn't make it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He's the people who didn't make it, and it is kind of that fear of just like what you were saying before of like it's hard to speak intelligently about this because it's like obviously a situation we've never been in.
Well, not only that, I just don't know anything about it.
But it's also like that idea of survivor's guilt where like you got out of a war-torn country, but there are so many people who didn't make it. In like the flashback like dream sequence, we see Rael back in Sudan, and basically she hid like in her classroom where she works, but everybody else got massacred. And the final shot is them in their new house, but the entire village is around them. Of kind of like there's so many ghosts following coming with you of all the people who didn't make it.